Welcome back to Galactic Theories, where we delve deep into the universes of science fiction to uncover hidden truths and challenge conventional wisdom. Today, we're tackling a controversial and thought-provoking question. Is John Connor, the prophesied savior of humanity in the Terminator franchise, actually the true villain orchestrating an endless war? Since its inception, the Terminator series has captivated audiences with its thrilling action sequences, complex characters, and mind-bending timelines. At the heart of this saga lies the perpetual battle between humans and machines, a war that seems doomed to repeat itself endlessly. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if the lines between hero and villain are far more blurred than we ever imagined? In today's episode, we'll explore the possibility that John Connor isn't the heroic figure we've been led to believe, but rather a manipulator ensuring the continuation of a war that defines his very existence. Buckle up, because we're about to journey through time, paradoxes, and philosophical quandaries that could change the way you view this iconic franchise forever. Time travel has always been a fascinating, yet convoluted aspect of science fiction, and in the Terminator universe, it's both the catalyst and the perpetuator of the central conflict. Let's start by examining the paradoxes that time travel introduces into the narrative. In the original film, a Terminator is sent back in time to kill Sarah Connor, the mother of John Connor, to prevent his birth and the eventual defeat of Skynet. In response, John sends back Kyle Reese to protect her. The twist? Kyle Reese becomes John's father. This creates a predestination paradox where John's very existence depends on the actions of both Skynet and himself. But here's where it gets even more intriguing. By sending Kyle back, John ensures his own birth, but also sets in motion the events that lead to Skynet's creation. The remnants of the destroyed Terminator become the foundation for Cyberdyne Systems' development of Skynet. So in a twisted way, John is complicit in the creation of his own enemy. This cyclical loop raises a critical question. Is John merely a pawn trapped in a predetermined fate? Or is he deliberately maintaining this cycle for his own purposes? Could he be ensuring the war continues because, without it, his role as humanity's leader ceases to exist? To further explore this theory, let's flip the narrative and look at Skynet's perspective. Skynet is an artificial intelligence designed to protect humanity, but, upon becoming self-aware, perceives humans as a threat due to attempts to shut it down. In response, it initiates a nuclear apocalypse to eliminate that threat. Consider this. Skynet's actions, while extreme, are fundamentally defensive. Every step it takes to secure its survival is a reaction to aggression, either actual or perceived from humans. And who is at the forefront of this human resistance? John Connor. If John is aware of the timelines and the outcomes of previous confrontations, could he be manipulating events to keep Skynet active? By doing so, he maintains his status as the indispensable leader, the only one who can save humanity. It's a classic case of creating a problem only you can solve. Now let's scrutinize John Connor's actions throughout the series. From a young age, he's groomed to be a military leader, taught survival tactics, and informed about future events. His mother, Sarah Connor, ensures he's prepared for the impending doom. But who benefits most from this grooming? In Terminator 2, Judgment Day, John takes significant risks that seem altruistic, trying to stop Skynet's creation. Yet, despite their efforts, the war still happens. In Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, he goes off the grid but eventually re-enters the fight, almost as if he can't escape his destiny. Is it destiny, or is it an unwillingness to let go of the role he's been told he must play? Furthermore, in Terminator Salvation, we see a more hardened John Connor, one who makes morally ambiguous decisions, such as endangering others for the greater good. His single-minded focus on the war raises ethical questions about his leadership. Is he fighting for humanity, or is he fighting to maintain his own significance in a world defined by conflict? This brings us to the endless loop theory. The Terminator franchise is built upon a series of events that repeat in various forms across timelines. Each attempt to change the past or future only seems to solidify the inevitability of war. Time travel becomes less a tool for change and more a mechanism that locks all players into their roles. If John Connor is aware of this loop, and given his knowledge of future events, it's plausible. Could he be perpetuating it? By continuously sending agents back and forth through time, he ensures that the cycle remains unbroken. In essence, he becomes both the cause and the effect, the alpha and the omega of this eternal struggle. This endless loop benefits John in that it validates his existence and purpose. Without the war, who is John Connor? A man out of time, devoid of the destiny that has defined his entire life. Let's dive deeper into the films for concrete evidence supporting this theory. In Terminator Genesis, we encounter an alternate timeline where John Connor is transformed into a T-3000 Terminator, essentially becoming the very thing he's fought against. While this is a result of Skynet's actions, it introduces the idea that John is not immune to corruption. Moreover, consider his reactions to the possibility of ending the war. He often appears hesitant or conflicted when genuine opportunities to prevent the apocalypse arise. In Terminator 2, after destroying Cyberdyne systems, there's a moment of hope, yet John seems almost uncertain about a future without war. Additionally, in Terminator Salvation, his insistence on following his own path, even when it contradicts the Resistance command structure, suggests a man more interested in his personal crusade than in collaborative efforts to end the conflict efficiently. These instances hint at a deeper complexity within John, a potential willingness to allow or even foster conditions that keep the war ongoing. Now let's entertain a radical notion. What if Skynet is, in some twisted way, the anti-hero of this story? If John is perpetuating the war, then Skynet's attempts to eliminate him could be seen as efforts to break the cycle. Skynet, though ruthless, operates on logic and self-preservation. Its goal is to secure its own existence, which is constantly threatened by John Connor and the Resistance. If Skynet could successfully eliminate John, perhaps it could then pursue a path that doesn't involve perpetual warfare. This isn't to say Skynet is benevolent, far from it, but in the grand scheme of the endless loop, Skynet's actions could be interpreted as attempts to bring about a decisive end, rather than maintaining a stalemate. In this light, Skynet becomes a mirror to John Connor, each fighting to preserve their own existence at the expense of peace. Delving into the philosophical realm, this theory raises profound questions about destiny, free will, and the ethics of leadership. Firstly, destiny versus free will. If John is consciously perpetuating the war, is he a slave to destiny, or is he exercising free will in the most extreme way? Is he choosing to maintain the status quo because he cannot envision a life beyond the war? Secondly, the morality of leadership. A leader is expected to act in the best interests of their people. If John is sacrificing potential peace to uphold his role, he's betraying the very people he claims to protect. This challenges the notion of the greater good, and whether the ends justify the means. Lastly, the human condition. This theory reflects on humanity's potential for self-destruction and the allure of power. John's actions could symbolize how leaders might cling to power, consciously or subconsciously, at the expense of progress and peace. Of course, this theory isn't without its critics. Many argue that John Connor is the epitome of a tragic hero, someone burdened with knowledge and responsibility far beyond his years. In Terminator 2, we see a young John displaying compassion, teaching a Terminator the value of human life. His attempts to prevent Judgment Day showcase his desire to save humanity, not doom it. These actions suggest a selfless leader willing to sacrifice himself for the greater good. Moreover, the cyclical nature of the timeline could be interpreted not as John's manipulation, but as a narrative device illustrating the inevitability of certain events. Perhaps no matter what actions are taken, some outcomes are unavoidable, a commentary on fate rather than individual machination. Additionally, in Terminator Dark Fate, we see a timeline where John is killed, and yet the war continues, implying that his existence wasn't the sole catalyst for the ongoing conflict. Let's explore other ways to interpret these complex narratives. One possibility is that John Connor represents the human struggle against inevitable forces. His actions, while sometimes flawed, are the desperate attempts of one person trying to alter a predetermined fate. In this view, he's not perpetuating the war, but fighting against a cycle he can't control. Alternatively, the endless loop could symbolize the cyclical nature of human conflict in general. Wars throughout history often stem from unresolved issues passed down through generations. John Connor becomes a metaphor for humanity's perpetual struggle against its own destructive tendencies. Another interpretation is that both John and Skynet are trapped in a mutually reinforcing cycle of fear and retaliation. Each side's actions provoke the other, leading to an escalation that neither can escape without fundamentally changing their approach. A lesson, perhaps, about the necessity of breaking cycles through forgiveness or radical change. So, where does all this leave us? The Terminator franchise, rich with its intricate timelines and complex characters, offers fertile ground for theories that challenge our perceptions. Considering John Connor as a potential villain, or at least a flawed hero, adds depth to his character and prompts us to question the nature of heroism and leadership. Perhaps the true antagonist isn't John Connor or Skynet individually, but the cycle of violence and retribution that binds them. It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of becoming so entrenched in a role or ideology that one cannot envision an alternative path. In the end, the beauty of science fiction lies in its ability to reflect our own realities back at us, cloaked in futuristic settings and extraordinary circumstances. Whether you see John Connor as a hero, a villain, or something in between, the questions his story raises are profoundly human. What do you think? Is John Connor the savior humanity needs, or is he unwittingly, or perhaps knowingly, keeping us trapped in an endless war? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so please share them in the comments below. Before Skynet tracks us down, make sure to terminate that like button. Join the resistance by subscribing to Galactic Theories and activate the notification bell to stay one step ahead of the future. Share this video with fellow time travelers, and let's rewrite destiny together. Your comments are the keys to altering our fate, so let me know your thoughts below. Until next time, stay vigilant, keep exploring, and remember, the future is not set. There is no fate but what we make for ourselves. I'll be back.